This is the secret underground room of the Bai family. The girl tells Bai Xiao Shu that if he can't protect himself, she won't be able to help him. Bai Xiao Shu says he doesn't want her to risk anything for him. The girl says that then, kill them and save her. Congratulate Bai Xiao Shu, wish him to grow up big and not be a noodle. A man reports receiving a call. He answers the call and reports seeing people in black and warning of danger, while the other person advises him to be careful. Bai Xiao Shu says he will try to figure out for himself why he is not answering the call and what he meant. Pairs of feet are running quickly across the floor. He notices this and pays attention. A woman warns Bai Xiao Shu to be careful. Bai Xiao Shu asks what? Then gunshots are heard. A loud bang sounds. He looks ahead with alarm. The man asks the girl what happened. Bai Xiao Shu says there is a lot of blood and asks how serious the girl's injury is. She tells them not to worry about her and to think about themselves. 3 armed fighters run forward. Bai Xiao Shu asks if they're filming an action movie here and what's going on. And the girl explains that it's all real. The girl asks who she is, and Bai Xiao Shu remains silent. The girl says she'll detain them. A woman attacks a man with a gun. Bai Xiao Shu says to her, "You idiot! What are you doing? They're armed." The man orders them to stop playing and open fire. Bai Xiao Shu screams in pain and falls to the ground. Then he asks why his life has to end like this. He gets up and starts running. He says what's going on and reports that Dad, the men in black, and the house. Bai Xiao Shu says he is in pain and seriously injured. He sees a house. Bai Xiao Shu breathes heavily as he approaches the door. Then he knocks on it. He says his arm hurts. Bai Xiao Shu hears the sound of impact. Bai Xiao Shu notices something from the window. 3 armed, masked men are visible at the window. He says he was followed all the way home. Bai Xiao Shu says he doesn't know what to do. Bai Xiao Shu says he'll definitely hide in the basement. He explains that his grandfather never allowed him to go there and says everything will be fine. He will doubt. Bai Xiao Shu says that this is a wall. Armed men want to find him. Bai Xiao Shu hears this. Bai Xiao Shu says he doesn't understand where he is and what's going on. The man says the wound on his hand is not deep and there is no need to worry. Bai Xiao Shu expresses surprise. He says what's going on. The door opens. Dangerous armed men notice Bai Xiao Shu and shout that they have found him and want to shoot him. The guns fire in bursts from right to right. Bai Xiao Shu screams in pain as the bullets hit his body. A shot rings out, hitting a man lying on the floor in a pool of blood. Bai Xiao Shu says that he never thought that his birthday would be the day he died and asks if he would die. The man explains that this is a core of demonic energy capable of awakening hidden power. He explains that with its help, one can significantly enhance one's abilities and change the course of events. Bai Xiao Shu looks at him in surprise. He sees a girl and thinks she's an angel. A girl asks Bai Xiao Shu if he agrees to enter into a contract with her. The girl says she's offering to play. Bai Xiao Shu asks his grandfather to tell him one more story. His grandfather agrees, but says that this will be the last story for today. The man says that this time he will tell a story about the gods. It is said that at the birth of the world, a great force was divided into 7 parts, which became powerful. These parts constantly quarreled, and when God saw that they were about to destroy the world, he decided to intervene. God took from the living the 7 negative emotions: pride, envy, lust, anger, and laziness. Bai Xiao Shu says it was a strange dream and says that he and his grandfather haven't seen each other for a long time. The girl says he's awake. He says he's still asleep and wonders why she calls him sir. He thinks he dreamed of such a beauty. Bai Xiao Shu remains silent, and the girl asks if he was invited. The man explains that he simply must embrace her breasts, and the girl reacts with embarrassment. A girl slaps a man in the face and calls him a pervert. Oh. The girl tells the gentleman that he made a contract with her, so his wounds should heal, no matter how deep they are. The girl asks how he feels. The woman says that she hit the man and he became stupefied, and he says that he is fine and asks her to stop crying and also asks to let him collect his thoughts. Bai Xiao Shu says that if it wasn't a dream, then he needs to think it over. He then reveals that someone wanted to kill him and asks why, for what purpose and for what reason. The girl tells him that all those people were killed on his orders. He doesn't believe her and asks how that's possible. The girl tells him not to doubt her, and he replies that he doesn't. Xiao Shu asks what's going on there. He says that he doesn't understand who is in front of him and asks who she is and what she did. The woman reports that the man is in such a bad mood. The woman asks for forgiveness. The girl says she's very sorry, master. The guy apologizes and says he should have brought the documents earlier, but he was late. Wang Wei says no problem. The guy even arrived on time and asks to see the murder case, handing him the documents. The guy asks for Xiao Shu. The document states that Xiao Shu is being questioned. The time is 10:45, and the case is being investigated by the district police station. The guy reports that those who attacked Qi Wang were people from St. Vert's. The girl tells Xiao Shu that if he doesn't want to be caught, he needs to get into the car quickly. The girl asks, "Are you a master?" Xiao Shu says that everything has a limit and asks her to stop calling him that. The girl replies yes, yes. He regrets. Xiao Shu asks the girl if she can make them invisible, but the girl doubts it's possible. This is the entrance to some small area. The girl says it's nothing surprising. Xiao Shu says it's cool. The girl says let's get dressed now. Suddenly a dog starts barking. Loud barking of dogs can be heard. The girl tells the gentleman that he needs to hurry up. Xiao Shu says he only needs 2 things and explains that he can't find them. Xiao Shu says the girl should assess the situation and report back to him. The girl says she warned him to hurry and believes he's to blame. He says that if she doesn't want him around, then she should say it directly. Xiao Shu says she is stupid and asks why she didn't look at the traffic light. Do you want to die? He says he doesn't understand why the girl walked through the red light. The girl asks why she can't go to the red light, and Xiao Shu asks if this girl knows anything about this world. Xiao Shu says that the girl has probably never seen such a thing before. He informs her that the girl has become his contract maid. He says that he is quite kind, so he will trust him with the phone. The girl asks if she can really find everything here, and Xiao Shu replies that of course she can. The request is reported as sent and the results are loading. The man asks what happened. The guy asks what the hell the girl saw there. Xiao Shu tells him not to talk about it with such a face. And the girl says that she will do everything in her power. A guy and a girl are walking through the park. The guy says that a lot of what's on the internet these days is complete nonsense. And the girl agrees. Suddenly, they meet 2 guys on the street. The girl asks who they are. The girl says they are in an awkward situation. The man silently looks worried. Xiao Shu says we need to get out of here. The man tells Xiao Shu to stop. Xiao Shu is being pushed. The girl screams, "Sir." The guy says he's offering to join his big brother and have some fun. The girl says that the guys are bad and she doesn't want to go anywhere. The guy says he's a really bad person and laughs. Then he suddenly feels pain. The guy says he's one of those really, really bad guys. The girl gets ready to fight, and the guy, with an aggressive expression on his face, tries to grab her. The girl demands to be let go. The guy says that the girl's temper ignites him and laughs. The girl looks at him silently, slightly tense. Xiao Shu appears and tells him to take his dirty hands off her. The guy tells her to take her dirty hands off of him. The guy in the cap and his friend laugh at Xiao Shu. A guy says he wants to play with another guy's girlfriend and asks if there's a problem with that. The guy says don't push him and stabs Xiao Shu in the chest. The girl screams. Xiao Shu lies on the ground. The woman asks if he's okay. The bad guy grabs Xiao Shu's clothes and says that if she called him Lord. He says that if he is smart, he should leave. Bad guy says he'll go with the boy, and Big Brother will take him to a fun place. He tells Xiao Shu that this is now their henhouse. Xiao Shu wonders why he didn't fight back. He says to stop immediately. Xiao Shu says to Jasmine. The girl tells the master to follow his desires and fight. The guys say he's looking for death. What the hell? Xiao Shu kick. He says that the damn bastard dared to hit his older brother. The guy says he sees that Xiao Shu is tired of life and takes out a knife from his holster. The guy attacks Xiao Shu. The boy tries to stab him with a knife, but Xiao Shu intercepts his hand and strikes back. The boy watches in horror. The boy screams that he was wrong and turns to his big brother. He explains that if he wants to say something, they will discuss it later. Xiao Shu tells Jasmine that he's wounded and asks what happened to them and what this mark is. Jasmine explains that it's a sign of their contract, signifying the awakening of their master's source of power, and informs her that even though Xiao Shu is still an F-rank disciple, it's enough to heal the wound. He asks that he became a magician. The girl asks if the master knows about mages and explains that mages are divided into more than just 11 ranks. Xiao Shu explains that this means he is a disciple mage of the lowest rank of the 11. The girl explains that magicians usually consider the SSS rank to be the highest level, but in fact, there is another hidden rank higher than that, which the outside world perceives as a legend, since no one has yet reached this level. The guy says that he feels like she has already heard about the other world, and someone has talked about it in her house before. Xiao Shu says it's been 2 days since he's been home, and his mother will definitely kill him. He says they need to get home quickly. He tells Jasmine not to tell his parents about what happened, explaining that a lot of terrible things have happened and he doesn't want to drag his mother into it. The guy says they're home. The man opens the door. Xiao Shu says there's no one here and asks what's going on, and also wonders if something happened to his mother. Jasmine calls out to him. The woman reports that there is a piece of paper on the refrigerator. He looks at the paper. The piece of paper says, "The money is on the card." Jasmine warns him to be careful. He explains that his mother wrote the note and that she's fine. Something unexpected happens. It says 1 million yuan, the password is birthday. The girl says that only people have such an aura. These are high-ranking magicians. The boy turns to his grandfather. Xiao Shu asks his grandfather who is the strongest magician. The man explains that magicians are divided by strength, and there is a strict ranking system between them. SSS rank, Immortal Magician, SS rank, Great Magician, S rank, Magician, AAA rank, Arch Magician, AA rank, Master of Magic, A rank, Magician, B rank. Xiao Shu says that then Grandpa is a wizard too. The man explains that they need to wait until Xiao Shu grows up. Then he'll understand everything. The girl asks if he found her, to which he replies that he hasn't. Xiao Shu reports that there is something shining among the books in one of the shelves. He says that even his mother was a powerful sorceress, and after all this, he is still the weakest here. Xiao Shu reports that the master's treasury is full of such things and calls them his children. Xiao Shu says he found. The girl asks if all of the gentleman's friends wear such strange clothes, and explains that it's good that she read the gentleman's thoughts when she woke up and chose to wear exactly those clothes. Otherwise she would have lost to them. Xiao Shu says the clothes look great on the girl and asks why she looks weird. The girl explains that as long as the gentleman likes them, everything is fine. He says they'll go get the money. The girl says she's very sorry, but she's really hungry. He explains that he's hungry too and will go take her somewhere nice. The girl rejoices and says she loves the gentleman more than anything in the world. The waitress informs him that the largest set menu is the banquet set for 20 people and suggests ordering it. Xiao Shu asks about the set menu for 20 people and says he wants the one with more meat. He tells Jasmine that this dinner is for 20 people and he doesn't think the two of them can eat it together. The woman says she was afraid Xiao Shu wouldn't have enough food. Xiao Shu explains that if they don't eat the food, they can just take it home, and that they don't have any shortage of money. The girl announces that dinner is ready. He says he's not used to wasting food, as they ordered it and therefore must eat it all. The woman asks for all the dishes to be brought. Xiao Shu tells them to take their time and eat more slowly. The girl looks at the food with shining eyes. There are many delicious dishes on the table before them. The girl says that the gentleman must eat too. A woman announces a team recruitment and asks for applications in the V-Contact group. She explains that they need cleaners, typers, and editors who are trained, as well as editors, translators, and betas who are not. The sound screams loudly. Xiao Shu reports that the food is almost ready. The girl asks if the food is ready and calls him her darling. The woman says the children can't wait any longer. He says one word, children. In the top right, a girl repeatedly says she's hungry. Below, a man is screaming, and around him, many girls are repeating that they're hungry. In the bottom left, a man is lying in bed and saying, "Sir," and next to him, someone whispers, "H." The guy screams to avoid being eaten. Xiao Shu says it's a dream, but it feels real. Then he asks what he just saw. The girl says, "Mister," but he remains silent. The girl says she just arrived and asks for forgiveness. Xiao Shu says he'll go and open the door. He asks if his parents are back, then opens the door and says he wants to know who they are. The guy says that if anyone dares to harm the girl, he will not let it go unpunished. The girl says she won't let anyone hurt her and is ready to defend herself. The men in suits stand silently behind them. Mirong Xiang tells Xiao Shu that they haven't met yet, but he should remember her name. The guy shouts, "Hey." Xiao Shu says Mrs. Name doesn't matter. This is his home. The girl looks at him and then takes the cup of drink. The girl says that the 100-year war between their families should end in their generation. A woman announces a team recruitment and asks people to write in group messages, explaining that they need cleaners, typers, and editors who are trained, as well as editors, translators, and betters who are not trained. Xiao Shu reports that in the other world known as the magical world, there are two ancient families of magicians, the Bai family and the Murong family, who relied on their magic, which embodied thunder and glory. He explains that these families were always at war and fought each other. The story goes that one generation of the head of the Bai family, Bai Tianli, and the head of the Murong family, Murong Ku, decided to represent their families in the final, decisive battle of life and death. Bai Tianli utters the name Bai. Murong Li curses the name Bai Tianli, and the woman reveals that their families have since fallen into decline. The Murong family, with weakened powers, remained in the magical world, while the Bai family disappeared into the fog, and explains that the Murong family will never forget this bloody revenge. The girl apologizes for being late, and the man asks if he understood everything. Xiao Shu says he heard his grandfather and father talk about it before, and the girl explains that the versions differ slightly, but it was all real. The boy says the Bai family saved their family line, but it turns out it was someone else's plan, and asks how Muong managed to escape alive. The girl explains that if the Bai family hadn't existed, there wouldn't have been these unfortunate riots, and admits that she's been through inhumane suffering since childhood. The woman tells Xiao Shu that he is weak, and the powerful magical power they sensed a couple of days ago was just an illusion, and also says he is not worthy of being her opponent. Xiao Shu makes a pained sound. The girl addresses Xiao Shu as Lord. The girl says that this D-grade pink gemstone will be used to pay off the Bai family and asks if she understood correctly that the Murong family owes the Bai family. The man says that from now on, their families owe each other nothing. Xiao Shu says that's enough, Murong Xian. The boy says this is his home and orders her to take her stone and leave. He explains that pride is clouding her vision and advises her not to refuse such an offer. Xiao Shu says someone has dared to challenge his master. Xiao Shu calls this person Yu. Jasmine reveals that she is the Bai family's head maid. The girl says that people from the Murong family always treat other people's houses as their own. He says that a servant of the Bai family should not treat guests like that, and calls the girl Yu. Xiao Shu and the girl stand together. The man in the white suit says that since Mr. Aye hasn't taught him basic manners, he, as a guest, will do it for him. The image thanks the team at Arso Studio for their assistance with this project. The guy says the little one should die. Xiao Shu states that this matter only concerns their two families, and the other person's insistence on going with them was inappropriate and the interference crosses the line. He says it's really the Siener family business, but he worries that maybe it was too dirty and he crossed the line. Xiao Shu announces that he will ask her grandfather to marry him and asks her to wait until they return to the magical world. The girl explains that then he will understand the need to behave well and obey. The woman says to take the stone and they will be even, explaining that although he is just a piece of trash, there must be elders in his family who can return to the magical worlds, and when that happens, he says that the villagers cannot even recognize treasures. The man explains that this type of stone is the currency of the magical world and that there are 11 grades from lowest to highest. He also explains that such magical stones are rare in the mist world, so a standard pink gemstone costs 500 million yuan. The man explains that they're Xian Air. Xiao Shu says it's only a D-class stone and asks what if it were an appraisal or even an S-class stone. The girl says she'll never let Jasmine eat it without a penny again and urges the magical world to wait for him. Xiao Shu laughs, and the girl turns. The girl asks if you are ready to accept this. The boy shouts at the master, asking if he really wants to accept this. Xiao Shu says he doesn't understand why he should accept it and explains that they don't need Morong. So he orders him to pack his things and leave. The girl with long blonde hair reacts sharply to this. The girl says that she addresses someone with the word, you. The girl says that Henri. Xiao Shu reports that something is happening. The girl expresses surprise. The girl says she can't believe what she heard. Xiao Shu is silent, clutching his head in his hand. The girl falls to the floor with a loud thud. Xiao Shu catches the girl, who is trembling and looks frightened. In the background, a red-haired girl reports that stone statues are appearing around them. He says it felt pretty good. The girl screams in pain. The girl says she is going to kill her interlocutor. Xiao Shu announces that he intends to kill the man he's talking to. The man asks Xian Air if she's okay and addresses her as Miss, whoever she is. The red-haired woman explains that he was the man who just made that move. The girl reports that she was attacked and helped by this piece of trash. The woman explains that if the boys dare to speak rudely about her owner again, they shouldn't blame her for her rudeness, and repeats the question about the piece of trash. The girl explains that ignorant people like them can't understand the Bai family's secrets. Xiao Shu explains what information the Bai family still has and asks if this could be the reason Xiao Shu is controlling such a high-level mage. The girl asks if it's possible that the previous head of the Bai family isn't dead. He explains that he will say something that ignorant people don't know, and that his master is destined to stand at the top of the magical world, and he is not someone people have the right to criticize. He states, the boy warns Jasmine that she's provoking enemies and that he could die because of her actions. Then the boy notices an unknown force spreading through his body. The girl explains that she can use the mark on him to transfer her power. The girl tells her master to act as usual and not let anyone know she's transferring his power. Xiao Shu says he understands. He says he will let the boys see their true strength. The guy says that if the other guy really had any power, he wouldn't have been so weak recently, and orders him to stop acting like that. Xiao Shu asks what he's talking about and starts to explain that the other guy is actually the one. The girl explains that the master just needs to pretend while she kills those two. He announces that he will have the honor of accompanying Milady. The man in red says that since they are so eager to challenge him, he is ready to accept the challenge. Xiao Shu says they won't regret it later. The woman says she's going to take everything that belongs to him. He screams in pain as purple tentacles entangle the girl and him. The woman asks him who the dog was that was just making wild statements, and by Xiaosh. The boy strikes, and Xiao Shu makes sounds of pain. Xiao Shu tells him to slap him, his body thrashing under the blows. The girl says that this guy is a half-breed and a disgusting ram. The man stands nearby and listens. The girl asks what Xiao Shu is going to do. Xiao Shu clutches his stomach. Morong Xian tells him to get out because he's not interested in trash. He calls Morong Xian. He tells him that he might not be suitable for Morong Xian now, but the weak don't always remain weak, and asks if he dares to accept. The girl asks if Xiao Shu is scared. Xiao Shu explains that he's new here and wants to understand if this means the weak don't always remain weak. The man says that Xiao Shu isn't worthy of challenging him. Xiao Shu admits that the man recognized him. The husband. He says that Jasmine is right and he can't believe that he can defeat Morong Xian, and also reveals that he has Jasmine. The guy accepts the girl's challenge, but says he has a condition. The girl informs him that the winner can deal with the loser as they see fit and asks if he's still ready. Xiao Shu says something in response. The girl explains that they agreed and warns him not to run away when the time comes, then slams her hand down on the table. He tells her that he has been accepted as a disciple by one of the 10 great god-level mages, Mr. Jian Shengbi, but the man replies that he has no time to listen to this nonsense and orders her to take the dog and leave. The girl says that if a man isn't afraid of a god-level mage, The girl asks the owner if he's hurt and says everyone has already left. The man remains silent, sweating and smiling nervously. Xiao Shu asks Jasmine if she can defeat Mr. Ya, whoever he is. Jasmine explains that because of her contract, her strength can only be 2 classes higher than his. She's currently at her peak E class and can't defeat him. The girl explains that the master does not need to worry about a god-level mage because the magical world does not exist in one dimension, and that the fog world is capable of dispersing magical charges and keeping them in the other world. Xiao Shu explains that there are very few magical particles in the mist world, and the higher the mage's level, the more magical particles are stored in their transport, making it difficult for them to leave the magical world. He advises that before heading to the magical world, they must become even stronger. The girl says it's a pity the portions of lamb chops and steaks were so small, and turns to him, saying he didn't have time to eat anything, and also suggests coming to this cafeteria again. He explains that it's because the girl ate all the portions. The man in. 2 armed men shoot, and one of them says everyone heard him and everyone is not to move. The man shoots at people in a large room. Xiao Shu tells Jasmine to lower her head, and Jasmine asks the owner what they are doing, while he wonders if they are robbers. The man tells the boys to be quiet, and he says they better get down on their knees or they'll be killed. Xiao Shu says he hears loud noises. The girl warns Xiao Shu about the loud noises. Xiao Shu explains that they're only here to take something, not to harm, and if they cooperate, he guarantees they'll be fine. The girl says the police are supposed to handle these kinds of things, and they don't want to get involved in these troubles. The next scene shows 2 armed men being shot. The woman is aiming a pistol and breathing heavily. The man tells everyone to evacuate and asks everyone to leave immediately. The guy advises not to take any steps and says that he has prepared a small toy in case anyone moves from the spot. He will blow up the place. The man explains that they only want to take something, not cause harm, and says he must protect the hostages first. The woman says the special forces will arrive in 15 minutes and asks for support while she goes to distract them, and also says she will explain her conditions. Xiao Shu says he'll give up the car if they promise not to do anything to the hostages. The man warns Xiao Shu not to play games with him and demands he prepare the van and let them go, promising the hostages safety. Then a gunshot rings out, the man is struck by a laser beam, and Xiao Shu. The man claims the enemy has a sniper and has been tricked, and orders the woman killed because his older brother was wounded. The woman dodges the shots and asks if it wasn't them and who did it. The girl with the gun says hello. Xiao Shu says he doesn't understand why they came here to hide, and the girl with red hair wonders why the people from the mall are here. The guy with the gun tells them to run faster. He and the girl stand next to each other. The woman looks ahead and says, the boy screams for them to die. Xiao Shu warns them to be careful. He states that if he cannot win, he will die, and explains that he cannot afford to lose. The woman says the situation is completely unpleasant and warns Jasmine of the danger. The girl delivers a quick punch, causing the man to fall backwards. A young man pulls a pistol from its holster. A masked man tells them not to come near. A girl asks why she can't pull the trigger. Xiao Shu stands in front of 2 women hiding behind a column, while 2 men with machine guns point their guns at them. The woman tells Jasmine to be careful. The sound of gunshots is heard on stage. A masked man falls, bleeding. A girl in a dress stands nearby watching the scene. Another masked man stands motionless. A woman screams, "Ha!" The woman reports that they've confirmed the sniper who shot and killed these people isn't a police officer, and that they found a white flower where the sniper was. The man uses a megaphone to ask people not to crowd around, and the woman tells Jasmine to leave, as it's not a good idea to stay here. A woman asks to come with her for a second. She grabs his sleeve and tells him to wait. Xiao Shu explains that they wanted to leave quietly, and the girl says that the police don't communicate with bad people, and asks why she is trying to communicate with them. The girl says that if this is not a problem, then let her kill her. He remains silent. The guy explains that nothing will happen because they're not bad people, and asks Jasmine not to blab no matter what she decides. Xiao Shu asks if something's bothering her. In the top right panel, a girl tells the guys not to be afraid. She just wants them to conduct a simple interview. In the top left panel, a beeping sound from a voice recorder can be heard. Xiao Shu says they will do it and they will definitely do it. Xiao Shu explains to Jasmine that he doesn't want to become a wanted criminal. The woman says she's seen the girl's skill and notes that she truly possesses many talents. The girl in the maid costume asks the boys to tell her how they learned to do it. Xiao Shu says it's a skill, her skill, and laughs at it. Xiao Shu says he doesn't know what to do and is afraid to tell her they're wizards because she'll definitely think they're crazy. The red-haired girl says that the master should let her kill her to get rid of the problems, to which he replies that just mine can't do that. He reports that it looks like that. The woman in uniform explains that they are actually from an ancient noble military family, and the guy says it looks like they didn't train enough. They were quickly found out. The man explains that the guys were only trying to maintain fairness, and it was quite noticeable, to which the two guys agree. Xiao Shu says that Miss Officer has discovered their sharp minds, but they came here to train and cannot allow their identities to be revealed. So, the girl says she understands, but notes that the two of them have done a great service, and no one will know about it. The woman explains that all those shot or captured were criminals with a long-running manhunt, and their combined reward is 100,000 yuan. She adds that they don't seek any fame or recognition. Xiao Shu is surprised and asks about the reward. He reports the amount as 100,000 yuan and explains that while it's not as much as the magic stone, 1,000 yuan is enough to keep Jasmine fed for a while. He calls her the best master, and says that perhaps this is his merit. The man asks if the boys don't have enough money. Xiao Shu remains silent. The man says his interlocutor's family is very strict and offers to give him identification and a bank card to help him with the process. He explains that they came here to gain experience and can't rely on their parents, but they haven't found a job yet. The police officer tells Xiao Li to come over for a second, and Xiao Li explains that this is her ID and bank account information, apologizes for disturbing her, and orders her to notify the station to check the person's background and history, and then send it to her phone quickly. Xiao Li agrees. Xiao Shu says that maybe she didn't believe him from the start. The girl reports that the man's aura has changed slightly. The woman tells Jasmine to prepare to escape. The phone shows a photo of a girl in a maid costume and a boy with white hair. The woman says that this is. A woman announces that parking is prohibited in this area and warns Xiao Shu and another man. Xiao Shu and the man react to her words. A woman says she just asked to do a background check on a man, and the man says he never thought about it. The man tells Jasmine to play carefully, as it looks like the woman is about to pull out a gun. The woman says the man was very famous. The man expresses bewilderment. The woman says she never thought it was them, the guys. Xiao Shu reports that this means he really was Uncle Bai's son. He says no matter what happens to Jasmine. The woman asks what the results will be, and Xiao Shu says that if a policeman from the past or an ordinary person gets involved in a fight with a magician, the consequences will be certain. He says, ha. The girl says it's hard to say. The girl explains that they can be burned to ashes or frozen into ice, and that there are different types of magic, so the result will not be the same. Xiao Shu says he's only just entered the world of mages, but he's already faced many difficulties, even struggling to protect himself. He's also worried about his friends or family getting involved, as they're just ordinary people. The girl asks what exactly he means. He says it's time to say goodbye to his past. The woman says he is too arrogant, doesn't come to class and doesn't answer his phone, so she is going to report him now. The woman reports that her family had urgent matters and didn't have time to ask her older sister, Xiao Yu, for time off. Xiao Shu asks how things are now and whether everything has been sorted out. He tells his older sister Xiao Yu that he came to leave school. His older sister Xiao Yu asks if he should leave school. The girl asks the man if he has any problems and says she can help him. The man explains that she can't help because he has things he needs to take care of himself. The girl says that Xiao Shu seems to have really matured. Xiao Yu says that if he encounters difficulties, he won't have to bear the burden alone because he has her, his older sister. He says he's glad he was able to rely on her. Xiao Shu announces that he is going to another world and says goodbye forever to his older sister Xiao Yu. The woman reports that the boy has just discovered his abilities and is already as pathetic as an orphan. The sound of a door closing is heard. The woman says he's probably heading to a magical world, and if he meets his older sister Xiao Yu there, she's looking forward to seeing his expression. The man says it's a resignation letter. The boy says that the older brother is that guy. The man explains that he will then leave the older brother to help him get revenge. Xiao Shu remains silent. A discarded object falls to the floor. The girl says the owner has already said goodbye to his family and asks why he's still worried. He explains that even if he went abroad to study, he could still come back and meet them, but now he truly will never see them again in this life. The girl reports that the owner still has Jasmine. The girl promises to always be by Xiao Shu's side. Xiao Shu informs her that he still has Jasmine. He says it's so close. The girl smiles. The girl says the guy looks like he's having a good time. Xiao Shu reacts with surprise. The man says he is busy and asks who is there. The guy in the white jacket says it's him again and asks why he hasn't appeared in front of him again. The man in the white t-shirt stands nearby. The girl says that he still dares to joke with her. The boy shouts that if Xiao Shu doesn't want to fight, then he should get off his territory, and says he won't let Xiao Shu interfere with him. Xiao Shu calmly closes his eyes, not responding. The boy makes sounds of confusion. He asks who the man is and asks if he is related to the other man. Xiao Shu says he moves even faster than him and this guy is interesting. The girl says he hears her and greets him, then tries to get his attention again with the words, "Hey." The man explains that he hasn't seen the guy's true strength and shouldn't have any problems with him. The guy says that he promised to avenge someone and if he admits defeat and leaves now, he won't have to fight. The man says he doesn't understand how people can talk behind others' backs and asks if all young people today are shameless. The girl and Xiao Shu simultaneously make a B sound. The man expresses irritation and tension. He raises his hand. The man makes a fist. Then they collide, causing a powerful explosion. Xiao Shu and the man strike each other at the same time. The guy says that if he can't win, he will die. He says that he is not going to die and that he is not afraid. Xiao Shu says he doesn't want to fight, and the man replies that he has no intention of stopping. The man says he doesn't see a weak spot in this guy and if he can turn the situation around, he can avoid a fight. Xiao Shu says that if there are fights like this, he will be exposed, so he should ask Jasmine to teach him some techniques so that he can teach his opponent a lesson later. Tai Yuan says he never thought they were soulmates and humbly asks for the other person's name. Xiao Shu says that since he's been asked, he'll do him a favor and tell him. The man thinks this guy is admitting defeat. He says his name. The man says his interlocutor's younger brother is talented and initially wanted to trade blows with him. He calls the interlocutor an arrogant piece of trash and asks if that means he still has a trump card. Xiao Shu says that he currently has to take his junior to the hospital, so he suggests they fight another day. The guy says that he sees Brother Tai's sincerity and agrees. He tells Jasmine to leave him. Jasmine tells him to freeze him a little, but not to scare him away. Xiao Shu says he understands. A woman steps on a man's shoulder. He reacts to the unexpected action and expresses surprise. The man says that her leg just happened. He explains that he hasn't seen her before and that this girl is also a martial artist. Tai Yuan says he will remember today's sincerity and says goodbye. Tai Yuan takes off his shirt. The guy says wait. Xiao Shu reports that they haven't made plans for the next day yet and that it would be boring if there was no reward. The guy says they'll bet 500,000 yuan. The man says let's have some fun. The man asks what happened. Xiao Shu remains silent. He says he is asking if the other person is afraid. The inscription states that this is the Bai family villa. Xiao Shu tells the girl that if he teaches her a few tricks, they'll put on a real show at the park in 3 days. The girl asks if they can really get a lot of meal tickets. The woman asks him what kind of magic he wants to learn and says he knows many different kinds. He asks her to let him think about it. He inserts the key into the door lock. Then the woman stops him and says there's a stranger inside. The boy shouts for his mom and dad. Xiao Shu tells him that the stranger is making him suspicious, and he asks if his parents have returned. He says that if he can't get the power, he won't be able to protect those he cares about. The girl says she doesn't understand. Bai Xiaoshu says he will take care of everything and then calls Jasmine to stop. A man runs up. He asks if Jasmine is okay. The girl says, "What is this?" Bai Xiaoshu screams as he is thrown out by a powerful stream of energy. The guy says, "Heh, you bastard. Do people really like to break into people's houses without an invitation these days?" Bai Xiaoshu tells them both to stop. The girl in the maid costume calls him master. Bai Xiaoshu asks what's going on here. He claps his hands. A man and a girl in a maid costume stand together. The man announces that this is his girlfriend. Bai Xiaoshu asks who he is. Zhao Minggong reveals that she is an assassin from the magical world and asks if he wants to know who she is. The woman says it's time to talk about serious things. The girl stands silently nearby. The woman reports that she received a request from Bai Xiaoshu's father to come and look after him. Bai Xiaoshu asks about his father. The blue-haired woman tells him that his ancestors have been involved in all sorts of troubles, but are safe for now. He asks where his parents are and if they are safe. The woman says she's safe for now, but she needs to hurry and go to the magical world. The man says not to worry. The woman says she's already made a promise to Bai Xiaoshu's father and will definitely send him safely to the magical world, even if it costs her life. Bai Xiaoshu explains that if she's accepted the offer, she'll see it through, and the man says it would be wonderful if Bai Xiaoshu stayed. The red-haired girl says she will definitely send the gentleman to the magical world safe and sound and that she doesn't need any help, and also states that the man has no special skills. The blue-haired woman coughs. The purple-haired woman says the fight is already over and asks if it's too late to make excuses. The red-haired woman says that if it weren't for the fact that no one in the misty world imposes restrictions on her, the other would have died already. Bai Xiaoshu remains silent. The red-haired girl explains that she must increase her master's strength to earn food stamps. The blue-haired girl explains that Xiaoshu's parents possess unfathomable power, and a trifle like him cannot be involved in their affairs. He asks what the girls are doing. The sound of whistling can be heard against the night sky with a full moon. Bai Xiaoshu says he's hiding and asks where the master is. The girl says that the gentleman was hiding here, and he shouts "Wah." Bai Xiaoshu says that if they use this training method, he'll die before he even learns anything, and asks if there's another way. Jasmine explains that Bai Xiaoshu needs to understand that this skill is a gravity skill. Bai Xiaoshu asks for a second. The girl says that before mastering this magic, you need to personally experience it, and if you manage to awaken this ability, you might be able to reach B class. The girl says she's not like that, and it can't be any other way. Then the girl screams, "Haha," and releases a powerful energy beam. Bai Xiaoshu touches the tree, then suddenly pulls his hand back. A girl screams as she watches a bright explosion in the night sky.